Hello, this is Unlimited Splash, where we get better at Magic together through a new draft every day. And today I'm so excited to bring you a run of the Arena Direct Sealed Winabox Challenge. If I get 6 wins before my second loss, then I will have a box of Lorwyn booster packs mailed to my house. If I get 7 wins, then I will get 2 boxes mailed to my house. I have won boxes in Dragonstorm Tarkir, Foundations, and in Avatar for a total of 5 boxes, but I have yet to win a box of Lorwyn, even though I've played tons of Lorwyn, including at the Magic Spotlight Tournament event in Toronto. So I'm really hoping that this is the run that gets me a box. Let's jump into it. Come on, let's open something totally sweet, please. I am really hoping for a good pool. I've been running really bad in this event, and this pool could be worse. So we do have mana fixing. That's actually very important. Don't sneeze at having a bunch of dual lands in your rares. Moonshadow is a solid card, as is Spinerock Tyrant, a very, very strong rare. So we have 1 top rare. And Grub is good, I believe. It's, whatever. It's good if you have a whole lot of goblins. Champions of the Perfect is fantastic if you get the support for it. Hexing Squelcher, unfortunately, is basically just a Grizzly Bears, but I can see there's something in the Jund space, hopefully, for us here. Not an all-timer amazing pool in terms of rares, but we definitely have some potential power. Looking at our white and blue, I can see we have a pretty high number of cards, which is a little bit bad. When you have all of your rares centered in one color, you really hope to also have your commons and uncommons centered in there. I do see that we have pretty good removal in black and red. Double Cinder Strike, and I saw a Blight Rot. We have got some 3-drops, maybe not the fastest start. Starbird Anti, Spinerock, and then we have a Kulrath Zealot. Now, I'm wondering if we can play an elf champion here. I mean, the Chomping Changeling kind of helps. Having a Changeling means that you could exile it to your Champions of the Perfect. So I would say I'm going to start by sorting everything by their colors, and then let us look at something in the Jund space, probably. Okay, so just looking at the colors here, I would say my blue stands out to me as absolutely the weakest color. We do have some Wanderwine Farewells. Temporal Cleansing is a good common in Sealed, but other than that, there's really nothing to speak about, and no bombs are pulling us into that color. So I'm going to say we're almost certainly not going to be playing blue. Our white doesn't have any bombs pulling us into it. The common and uncommon card quality could be a lot worse, right? I mean, I do have Double Spiral into Solitude. I have some Kifkin stuff going on, Thoughtweft Imbuer. But having said that, I think I'm very unlikely to want to play white when I have Grub pulling me into black. I have Spinerock Tyrant, which is a massive pull into red, and I have Champions of the Perfect, which is a pull into green. I kind of want to be in the Jund space, to be honest, because my white does not stand out as being head and shoulders better than the others in common and uncommon card quality, and it is certainly below them in rare and mythic rare card quality. So I'm going to cut this down and lower our decision space to just these colors. Between these colors, I definitely am leaning towards playing red. The question is, do I want to go in more of a goblins direction with Grub, or do I want to go in a direction that might actually be able to run the Champions of the Perfect? I'm just a little bit suspicious with only Chomping Changeling, Feisty Spikeling, Changeling Wayfinder, and I think that's it for Changelings. I'm a little skeptical that I'm going to get to do the Champions of the Perfect thing, but let's at least look at pretty much every color pair among these 3, and maybe with the Changeling Wayfinder, we can actually get a little bit splashy with it, maybe. But let's look first at red-black, because I think that's my most promising direction. So I think the deck would look something like this. By the way, I forgot about Moonshadow. That's a nice pull into black when I was listing my pulls into colors. So that's definitely one. I think that, it's the only thing about Moonshadow is it's really, really slow. You need something to enable it. It needs synergies to make it get big, right? And I don't really have that in this build. Spinerock Tyrant is obviously fantastic. That's a standalone bomb, but it's kind of the only one. So we're really just trying to get there on consistent curve out, just consistently putting threats on the board and trying to deal damage. We have some kind of do nothing cards early on in the curve, just as sort of curve fillers. And our removal is fine, but not amazing. I also think there are some kind of questionable things, like maybe I don't play Kindle the Inner Flame. On the other hand, the Goblin synergy is pretty good. I have Grub. I think Bone Club Berserker is going to be good, and there's Gathering Stone. Kind of Grub and Kindle the Inner Flame are funny because I'm hoping to like copy some of my best cards, but obviously you sometimes just don't really have good targets for those. So this looks okay. I tend to think this sort of deck doesn't really trophy much in these events. Um, so I'm not totally sure that this can go the distance. I think I would have to basically benefit from my opponent's bad luck a bunch of times in order for this to net me a box. So let's take a look at the green cards that we're leaving on the table and see if maybe there's a elf build either in green, red, or green, black. It's a little bit more elf focused. Let's see if that's maybe a little bit better. I put together green, black, and it just does not look good. I have no 2-drops, essentially no curve. I have a bunch of kind of random clunkers like Midnight Tilling. Straight up green, black is not where it's at. Also an unsupported Mist Meadow Council, and my champions is going to be unplayable a lot of the time. I'm relying on some random changelings that I don't want to play in order to cast it. So, oh, sorry, Iron Shield Elf was misclassified, but still the curve is not great. Not looking very good. Prisma Basher is very weak here. So let's see if maybe red green is looking better. This is maybe red green. I'm just not impressed with my green, to be honest. The green's kind of all over the place. Like, yeah, I have champions of the perfect, but I only have 1 2-drop in green, and then I have 2 random Kithkin cards when what I'm trying to do is support elves, and these 2 shapeshifters are like some of my only creatures. Yeah, I don't think this is it. So I think, unless there's some other challenger that I can find in here, it's just going to be Rakdos Beatdown. So I think this is where I'm landing. I'm a little concerned because it just looks like a very fair deck. Like I mean, Spinerock Tyrant is kind of my one mega threat. Other than that, I don't really have that much going on. And it's not like I have 8 2-drops where I'm just curving out and just absolutely crushing the opponent. So, you know, 1 Reaping Willow, for example, and I think my entire game plan is just shut down, and I have 1 removal spell that can deal with a card like that. I was looking at, I mean, look, I just don't really have any reason to go into white. I also don't really have any reason to go into blue, to be honest. So it's kind of like I'm building something in the Jund space. My green looks like the weakest of those 3 colors. The only thing I can think of is, what if I do something where the core of the deck is like double Chomping Changeling and the Changeling Wayfinder to allow me to play Champions of the Perfect and Grub in the same deck, and maybe also the Mist Meadow Councils, and then maybe Prisma Basher gets better if I'm playing like 3 different colors. That would be the greedier build. So I'm going to quickly take a look at that. I strongly suspect I'm going to end up defaulting back to this, but because there's just so little power in this deck, I at least want to look at that greedier, fully Jund version. Basically, as I tried building the Jund deck, I just found reason to cut like every red card pretty much, other than the Spinerock Tyrant, and we're looking at kind of green-black with all the weaknesses that that build had, splashing like 4, maybe with 4 mountains or something for the removal, and Spinerock Tyrant, which is really awkward because it's a double red pip. And now our 3-drop slot is terrible. Like, we have an unsupported Grub, we have 2 Chomping Changelings, which is just one of the worst cards in the set in best of 1. Gathering Stone probably can't even make this build. The Mist Meadow Councils are probably costing 5. It just does not look like a good scene. So I'm going to go back to that Rakdos build, and I think we're just going to try to curve out, beat down, and win as many games as we can. All right, so yeah, let's just give this a whirl. See how it goes. Rakdos aggro. Not the best in this format, but hey, maybe we'll just pick up some games by default if our opponents stumble on mana. Now, before we jump into the games, I do want to say, I record videos as basically as many as I can every time there's an Arena Direct, and every single day I do post a draft video. My goal on this channel is for us all to get better at Magic together. I am a Magic improver. I'm trying to level up from performing pretty well at regional tournaments, doing okay in these online events, to actually getting to the place where I can compete in higher level tournaments, like qualifying for the limited championship, or really consistently converting these sealed pools into boxes, you know, just hitting that next level. And I would like to bring you along to do that with me. So I try to explain all of my picks and decisions really carefully. I post the bad beats as well as the great successes. So I think that helps you see not just what does a good pool look like, but also what does like a good pool that doesn't work out well look like, or a bad pool that overperforms. So you can kind of see all those variations and not just see the ones that go like a clean 7-0. And that can help you to look at your own games and say, how do I take this not very good pool and translate it into a strong victory? So having said all of that, I think if you want to get better along with me, you should go ahead and click subscribe using the link in the description below. Tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, I'll be posting drafts. So if you do want to see this kind of careful description and analysis of what someone's thought process is that goes into both the good runs that do result in plenty of boxes and also the runs that are maybe a little bit tougher, do go ahead and click subscribe and let's learn together. All right, so I'm just hoping for a quick, fast hand. This is really awkward, right? I'm not feeling so good about this. So when this enters, you want to already have a goblin in the bin. My first turn is on turn 3. My first play is on turn 3, and I don't even have that many 2-drops to draw. I think it's a mulligan. Oh, wow. What a bad start to the event. I don't really want to go to 5. Maybe I should have kept that last one. Okay, well, all right. We got a mountain. That was a very lucky little draw for us. Okay. So we're starting off curving out. The mulligan actually did work out, even though it looks like it didn't. In this case, we managed to mulligan into a hand that has a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and if I can draw the mana for it, 4-drop, 5-drop, etc. So I'm just going to go ahead and attack here with my first striker. Then I'll play a Flamecaster. I'm not going to block because my whole plan is to be the beatdown here. Thoughtweft Imbuer, giving it +2. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Cinder Strike can't kill that guy. Yeah, it's a tough one. Okay, so maybe I'll just start with Heirloom Ante. I don't really have blocks though, do I? To the Gangly Stompling. Yeah, something tells me this pool is not doing it. I'm not really sure what else to do with this pool. I actually think it's kind of counterintuitive, but I actually think I do trade here. I'm 2 for 1ing myself, but I cannot just be taking 6 damage every turn from 14. That puts me on a 3-turn clock. I guess I'll keep this. Play Gathering Stone, weirdly enough. This is kind of a situation where every single thing has to go perfectly for me. So the idea here is I play the Gathering Stone, put that in the bin, and then I'm digging for a second mountain. Really, any other land is okay because I get to double spell Brute into Elf. And then basically I just need everything forever to work out in my favor. That's all. A minor little ask. This guy gets +3. Holy cow. I mean, they're attacking with a 3/8 every turn. So I don't think that does it. So Spinerock Tyrant can block the 3/8. It cannot block a 6/6 though. So I'm just going to take that. If I get Cinder Strike, I can take down their Thoughtweft Imbuer. But yeah, this is tough stuff, isn't it? I just feel like my deck doesn't really do anything, which I already knew. Okay, so I actually have to block here. I have to chump block. Okay, this is not going my way. Yeah. Yeah, this is not it. Okay, maybe let's try the Jund build, I guess, just to see if I don't really believe in that build, but just for science, let's see if maybe just packing, like making a concession on the quality of some cards to pack one more high quality card into my deck, basically. See if that's any good. So I would cut these, probably still try to play the Spinerock Tyrant, probably cannot play Grub, don't need to play Hexing Squelcher, cut the Bile Vile Boggart, maybe I cut these 3, and Flaring Cinder. We're just hoping to get lucky with this build, so I think I do keep the Mist Meadow Council. Maybe Blossoming Defense is a little bit too small ball. And cut a single Cinder Strike. Go down to, let's say, 4 mountains. I mean, like I'm trying to get... Whoa, what? No, don't do that. It just added every multicolored. I mean, I'm basically just... This is the, like, we have to get lucky deck, so... I guess I'll go up to 7 of these, 5 of these. No, maybe it's more like 4 mountains, 8 swamps. That's too many lands. So 10, this is 18, something like this. This is tough stuff, my friends, but I don't think our pool has it. So for science, we're trying something a little bit different. Probably I don't play feisty spikeling. And I put in, okay, let's just play grub. Again, we just have to get lucky, right? So the Rakdos deck just does not have the juice. I'm strongly suspecting the pool does not have the juice, but let's give this one a go. If you are losing this badly, kind of in this bad a position to win, then you should just try to learn, right? You should just try to play a little bit different and see if you can learn. It's actually tempting to keep because if I get a mountain, I can mountain cycle the Colruyt Zealot and play the Spinerock Tyrant, and I get to play Pummeler for hire. I'm just going to keep it. Like, the hand actually does have a future if I can find a red source. Even if I can't find a red source, I have my two main colors. I don't have a lot of better 3 drops in this. And actually, the Chomping Changeling does go well with Mist Meadow Council. So now I have a pretty good 3, 4, 5. If it comes down to it. Oh, that is the icing on the cake. Okay, my opponent is about to get the beating of a lifetime. I actually have removal for their Furdock core. This kind of thing should not happen. Like, that is like the luckiest thing that could have happened for me. Them playing an artifact. So they play Changeling Wayfinder to like fix the mana that I just caused trouble for. This guy also is, the Chomping Changeling is a giant for Pummeler for hire. You know, I don't want to like over index on whatever just happened because I was like very lucky, but this does already make me think that this is a better deck than the other one that I was running. The problem with the Rakdos aggro deck is if you don't have like 8+ 2 drops or something, you're just not putting pressure on. Like, we had to mulligan our first hand just to find a 2 drop. Then our second hand was color screwed because we're on 16 lands. So that's just going to happen a little bit more often. Okay, but the red splash is looking about as awkward as anticipated here. The colors in this deck are a big problem. Tweeze here is very awkward for the opponent because this already reimbursed me by a card. So they are kind of 2-for-1ing themselves. Oh, and they didn't even do the card selection off of Tweeze. Oh yeah, but this doesn't actually matter because this guy only adds according to the greatest power among giants. So if they kill it with the ability on the stack, it would matter, but it also has ward 2. This card is good. One thing I do think about sealed deck, by the way, I'm just going to opine about sealed because I don't think the run itself is inherently, going to be the most captivating. But I do have a lot of thoughts that I've learned about sealed here. So one is, I do think, I am a control player in my heart of hearts. I'm going to keep a swamp untapped here so that if I draw any land, I can still play Iron Shield Elf. So I love playing control, and we got rewarded there. But I will also say, in sealed, I think an important indicator of your likely success is often how many turns would it take if my deck were completely uninterrupted for it to just deal 20 damage to the opponent. Especially in this world of like best of one hand smoothers that we're playing in, people just have like, some people just have totally grotesque starts, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do about that. But the control decks will do better against those. But I would say even more often, the opponent just doesn't have like that much going on. Like here, not to like pick on this one particular person, I think this is illustrative of how a lot of these games play out. There's just like a lot of filler that people end up putting into their deck in order to play their bombs, right? And so I do think, oh, that's really nice. That's going to unlock my whole red mana sequence. I do think that kind of mid-rangey decks in this format in particular that just play a lot of cards like Mist Meadow Council, Pummeler for hire, that sort of thing, actually tend to be quite good. I'm just going to attack with everything now. Might as well put on the pressure. I think this is fine. It's not the ideal trade for me, but I don't really want to spend Cinder Strike here, to be quite honest, because I'm about to play Spinerock Tyrant, and then I can duplicate Cinder Strike, duplicate Anti-Sentence, which is pretty bonkers. End of their turn, I'll cycle my Colruyt Zealot. One line of reasoning would be just play the Colruyt Zealot, but I think playing Spinerock Tyrant into Anti-Sentence on the same turn, duplicate it and remove 2 cards from their hand, or give 2 things -2/-2 or something -4/-4. That just seems pretty good. Note that Wither does not affect the -2/-2 until end of turn. So this doesn't affect it. This only affects it if I target a creature by duplicating the spell. Anyways, so I do think that these like mid-rangey decks where you can just put 6 power on the board on turn 6 consistently, like put 4 power into 4 power into 6 power, that is a major way to win these sealed games. All right, so I'm going to get the mountain. I mean, Kulrat Zealot would have been really good here. I guess the way I get punished for that decision... Oh, Champions of the Perfect. Is this deck just actually way better? I think this is way better than my Rakdos deck. Okay. Even if I O2 here, I know right now I'm definitely going to post this video as a major learning experience. Because this deck, which is playing all these clunkers on 3 mana, because of the synergy, it just feels way better. It lets me play an extra bomb. Okay, that's fine, but I do get to copy this. And you exile, you choose one card that you can play, and it doesn't go into your hand, unfortunately. Yeah, this just feels way, way better. So I guess getting a little greedy with it in this format makes sense. And I will also say that's very consistent with my knowledge of how these tribal formats tend to work. Oh, ripping a Prisma Basher out of their hand is nice. So they're on some kind of vivid, everything goes kind of a vivid train. All right, so they're going to try to just board wipe me, basically. I will pitch the Cinder Strike to save Iron Shield Elf. Although, what I may end up saving... Well, all 3 of my cards are elves, so they have to kill all 3 of them to prevent me from playing champions. I'm not necessarily winning here, though. I need my champions to be followed up by a creature for the train to really get moving. Okay, so first things first, let's discard this and give this guy indestructible until end of turn. That's a sorcery, so you cannot destroy it with that sorcery. But having 9 power on the board is also going to be really good, right? It's very unfortunate that I did not get a creature, but that's okay. I'm just going to attack with both of these. And then I will play the champions and I will exile my Changeling Wayfinder. And end. Now, when they Cinder Strike my Iron Shield Elf, I'm just going to pitch a Swamp. And I have them at 1 more damage and it's lethal after my next attack. All right, goodbye to my Swamp. At least that draw saved my Iron Shield Elf, although it would have been nice to draw a creature into a Swamp. Okay. Well, hey, I mean, Iron Shield Elf is really good here, and even if all I do is just get back that Changeling Wayfinder from them removing champions, I still... that's even a lethal attacker. Okay, so we got up a game here. Would our Rakdos deck have won that game? Probably. Probably. But this deck felt a lot better than the Rakdos one. I'm just going to take one more quick look at it to see what improvements I can make. Honestly, I don't want to overthink it. Whatever I did worked on some deep intuitive level. I'm still not thinking that this deck can go the distance. I'd put myself at less than 50% to win the next game. But I do think that we learned something. Like, it's worth being greedy. Playing an underpowered 2-color deck is probably the worst place you can be at. And like I was saying, in these tribal formats in Sealed, you do not get the tribal nonsense nearly, any real fraction of the time in Sealed. So you have to basically just put together a deck that is playing the best cards that you have in your deck. Okay, in comes Sig. That's a better card than almost any that I have in my deck. I'll play the Auntie's Sentence and I'll just -2/-2 it, and that feels really good. I'm mainly playing Auntie's Sentence to take their bomb out of their hand. But if their bomb is a 2/2 that comes down on turn 2, then so much the better for me, right? Okay, so now I will play a Forest into Changeling Wayfinder. They might have counter. Okay, they don't. And I'll probably get a Forest, just given the land distribution here. I mean, I have a double green and a double red, so I already have access to double red mana. Next turn, I'll probably play the Miss Meadow Council. Because when I play Champions of the Perfect, ideally I would like to be double spelling. So I think let's go with this guy. Ideally, I would like to play Champions of the Perfect like turn 6 with a 2-drop to follow it up. We're a little far from that at the moment. I could also play Chomping Changeling targeting their treasure. That's kind of funny. If they attack with Flamekin Guildweaver, I think I would just take it. And just claim that I'm actually the beatdown. If they're attacking, there's probably some reason for it. So let's just take it and see how it works out for us. In comes Summit Sentinel. I see you kind of like having this blocker. Okay, that's enough lands. That's definitely enough lands. That is more than enough lands for me, please. So I'll play this. I will attack with Mist Meadow Council. And then I might as well play Champions of the Perfect. Oh, you don't want to draw a card? Interesting. I think I do just play Champions of the Perfect here, and I'll behold the one in my hand, of course. It could get countered, but I didn't think that they had counter mana. Oh, maybe they have the 4 mana counter. That could be it. That would be really bad for me. Looking at 4 swamps in my hand. But yeah, I think the main headline from this event is get greedy. Get greedy. So it's really hard for them in these colors to straight up remove champions. They could bounce it. Definitely they could bounce it. Oh, or they could also have an Endblaze Epiphany. How many Endblaze Epiphanies am I going to face in this event? Probably that's the last one. Wow. Everyone has Endblaze Epiphany, and they needed their treasure to do it as well. All right, I'd put us at 10% to win this game, probably, given what's in my deck. If I top a Spine Rock Tyrant, you know, that could do something, but my reason for not blocking that guy is just if they're attacking, there's a reason they're attacking. Like, they know something about their deck and their situation that I don't know. I guess I'll just play this one. I highly doubt I'm stopping them from playing an artifact or enchantment here. Yeah, so like when your opponent does something, it's often a good idea to just trust them. Like, trust that there's a reason that they're doing that. And here I'm just assuming there's a reason that they've been offering this trade over and over and over and over again. Well, they offered the trade and then they started attacking with it over and over. Let's see what it is. I mean, they could have +3/+2 and a treasure, but I'm more happy to trade this one than to trade that one. Seer makes like, that wouldn't have been a disincentive to block, right? Okay, so this is interesting. Maybe I attack first with Mist Meadow Council, trade with the Rooftop Percher before they know what I have in my hand. Almost certainly they're just going to take the damage here because that's what they've been doing. Okay, or they decide that now is the time to draw a card. And then the question is, do I Cinder Strike the Rooftop Percher or do I Cinder Strike the Flamekin Guildweaver? Kind of want to do Rooftop Percher because it's harder to block in the long run. I'm not just dead to Flamekin Guildweaver. It does put me down to 4. But, you know, that's what life is. I guess I could have done this before combat and gotten in for an extra damage. So that's my bad. Now I'm just hoping that they don't have anything and I draw my Spine Rock Tyrant or whatever it's called. I'll take it. I mean, I have chump blockers for days after this. They didn't seem to have the +3/+2 and make a treasure. Holy moly. Okay. So even if they have a removal spell here, I can block with Changeling Wayfinder and not exactly die. But wow, that is some flood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've drawn twice as many lands as non-lands. Changeling Wayfinder did fetch me one of those, but yeah, that's hard to come back from. Oh no, I did have these 2 cards as well, so not quite that imbalance, but still, that's a lot of lands right there. But it's okay. I'm not going to be crying over this deck. This is an experimental run for sure. All right, what have you got for me? Well, I'll be blocking now with the Mist Meadow Council. If they have a Seer, I die. All right, that's game. Yeah, so what did we learn? I mean, this pool, I don't really think that there was a way to convert this into anything, even any gems. I think this was like, if you get really lucky in the games, maybe you can pick up a win, a win or two. Getting 3 wins with this pool would have been pretty impressive. But let me know in the comments what you think. I mean, this is about learning together as a community. Hey, maybe there was something I was supposed to do with Silvergill Mentor and Wanderbrine Preacher and Flock Imposter. I don't know. It really felt like I was supposed to play Jund because that's where all of my powerful cards were. And the Rakdos deck just didn't seem like it had it. So then playing full Jund kind of made sense. It did seem to perform a little better. So I guess my main takeaway from this is get greedy with it. Don't play a bad version of a tribal archetype. If your plan is to curve out and beat down, you really need to have the beat down part covered and also the curve out part covered. Now, Rakdos deck did not have that. Yeah, so if you do want to see more runs, hopefully ones with a better pool and a little bit more successful, do go ahead and click subscribe using the link in the description below. After I'm done Arena Direct runs, I'm going to be drafting every day, and then when the next Arena Direct comes around, I'll be playing a lot of that as well. Until then, have tons of fun playing Magic, everyone, and don't be afraid to splash.